Have you ever heard of the term woo-woo science? It's a term used to describe companies and ideas and products that don't have any science behind them. There's no proof that what they're selling or promoting works. And I'd invite you to gather with me around the fire as I speak with Scott Nelson, who's a Juve co-founder and resident biologist, specifically about if there is any hard data and proof that light therapy or photobiomodulation actually works.
So one of the things that stood out to me about you was just how hardcore your scientific background is. You know, your experiences in traditional med tech, you studied biology. And I was thinking back to the first time that I even heard about light therapy and photobiomodulation. I was like, this is I've never heard of this before. This has to be fake. I'm wondering, how were you first exposed to it? How did you go about assessing for yourself whether it was like valid and solid science?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna pretend that I had this well thought out, strategy in place, but when my wife first said that she experiments quite a bit with different things, and I'm like the stale guy that's like, no, let me see the science first. But It was the same thing. Like, she wants to experiment with something that she wants to try, and I thought immediately, like, this sounds so foo-foo.
Yeah.
Like, I'm used to dealing with like cardiovascular stents and peripheral thrombectomy catheters and like real scientific stuff, So I thought, of course, it's like foo-foo thing, and little did I know that photobiomodulation is backed and supported by hundreds, arguably thousands of peer-reviewed, published clinical studies. So I'm the dumb guy that thought it was that thought it was foo-foo.
Also, like, when I was looking into it, one of the things that I kind of always look at is there's a lot of correlative studies, like in newspapers and stuff. It's like, hey, there's been a correlation shown between the amount of in and out you eat and this. And the studies that I was able to find were, and the studies now that thousands of, are double-blind, placebo, and randomized. It's kind of the gold standard for that. How did you go about actually digging into the science to kind of prove to yourself that there was like a massive amount of data that proves that this stuff works?
Yeah, I mean, well, any peer-reviewed data is almost always going to be published in PubMed. It's an open access database that anyone can do searches on, and so
you search like a term and it throws all the studies related to it.
Yeah, and the more granular, of course, the terms, the closer you can get to the studies that you're after. But do a simple search on low-level light therapy or low-level laser therapy, maybe photobiomodulation, and it's a laundry list of clinical studies. Dr. Michael Hamlin, Harvard professor, runs his own photomedicine lab. He's published over 300 peer-reviewed studies himself, which is almost unheard of, from my world in like the traditional, medical device arena for someone to publish that many studies. And so, even looking at his body of work alone kind of gives you an idea that photobiomodulation is a real science. It shouldn't be ignored.
If you want to see any of these studies that Scott talked about in this video, or just learn more about light therapy in general, I'd invite you to head over to joovv.com, JOOVV.com, and there's a lot of videos and articles that you can learn from there.